Why Splitting Up Makes No Sense by Cheeky Chucky. I was about to say Chuck E. Cheese, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, I feel like this video is probably about like why people in horror movies shouldn't split up, or people just it's just a dumb idea.
Let's Split Up is the most agreed upon death sentence in cinema history. Someone says it, the group nods, and from that point, you're watching a body count update in real time. This has been going on since 1969. There's exactly one movie where splitting up was the right call, and one movie that finally admitted why the line keeps getting said. I'm going through all of it, starting with where it all came from. The entire concept of splitting up in horror movies traces back to a show about a talking dog who solved crimes with his friends.
Wait, so you're telling me Scooby-Doo immortalized dumb niggas in horror movies? That's crazy. Let's split up, gang. Yeah, nah, it's over with. Immediately over. Hey, bro, chat. If you with your own boys and y'all in a horror situation, and say, for example, there's like a killer on the loose or some crazy shit about to happen, nigga say, hey, bro, let's split up. And this one nigga, when there's clearly power in numbers, grits. No bullshit. It's grits. Weak ass explosion sound. I'm gonna change that shit soon, I promise. That shit was ass.
The crimes were never real. The monsters were always guys in costumes, like a guy in a rubber mask trying to scare people away from a property deal. The dog was afraid of everything and primarily motivated by snacks. The leader of the group was a man named Fred. Fred wore an ascot. Fred had no discernible skills, but he had a plan, and the plan was always the same. Split up, cover the building, meet back here in 5. It worked.
Matter of fact, why did they even make that nigga Fred the leader in fucking Scooby-Doo? Wouldn't it make more sense to make someone smart like Velma? Or even, for example, fucking Scooby. I get that Scooby is like the mascot of the group since he's kind of the pet and he's also stupid. But like, why exactly is Fred the leader? I'm just lost on that. Like, I get it feels like, you know, on some real detective shit. Or if the nigga's like, I don't know, maybe it's his van, my nigga. That's the only reason I can think of. Because like, no fucking way they really made this dumbass jock a fucking leader of a group. I ain't never see Fred throw no hands. I ain't never see this nigga really like put in no real work. The ghost comes to him, or they just gets found out
every time, like, because the worst thing waiting for them was a retired fisherman with a projector. That's where the strategy came from. Horror films saw this and said, yes, we're doing that. In 2002, the live-action film finally addressed it themselves. Shaggy said, let's split up. Fred said, dude, that's my thing.
Split up and search for clues. Scoop and I will go this way. Right, come on, Scoop. Okay.
You stole my thing that I say.
33 years of using the strategy, and that was the full extent of the self-reflection. By then, horror had already been running with it for decades. Nobody asked where it came from, they just kept saying it. The reason they kept going, though, that part's worth looking at. Every time someone suggests splitting up, they've got a reason. It's always something like, we'll cover more ground, or we can find help faster, or we should check both exits. And
that doesn't even make sense. Okay, maybe the both exits one could make sense in a way, but cover more ground, can find help faster. So say, for example, boom, right? You're in a situation where you and a group of other niggas, horror movie, serial killer, whatever, right? And y'all split up to cover more ground. Whatever the fuck that means. So what, you'll just know more about the situation that you're stuck in? Like, if you're trapped in like a killer's house, you're splitting up in the nigga's house, the one who owns the house that probably customized it in somewhere, at least knows every fucking part about the layout. Or at least in the house with the killer in it, to cover more ground and find more areas. That just leaves you more vulnerable, my nigga. So I mean, at least when you're in the group, the killer probably won't jump in on you unless he's really like that to avoid getting his ass beat. But you know, when you go alone, that's just like leaving yourself open to get stabbed. You feel me? And another thing is like that we can find help faster. If you were to find help, you know, like when y'all got free, what about the other ones that's still in the fucking exact situation? Like, okay, split up right here. You go this direction, the police might be there, and I'll go this direction in the basement where the killer might be. What are we talking about? Deadass, what are we talking about? Clearly lost the plot.
And in the moment, standing in whatever building or forest they've ended up in, the reasoning sounds complete.
Nowadays, like the let's split up shit. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna lie. Nowadays, like say for example, it's a group of like black niggas in the hood. Let's split up. Gee, niggas got guns. I'm not tell you, Jason Voorhees. Nah, he probably. I mean, shit. I don't know. Them niggas do got some strong ass guns. Even though Jason is damn near immortal, them niggas got some strong ass guns. Because some people like men in mass chasing them. Oh no, don't. Okay.
Fine.
No,
The logic
I was about to read
isn't
that
stupid on its face. If you take the horror movie out of the sentence, cover more ground is a perfectly reasonable strategy. Search and rescue teams do it. Police do it. Any situation where you need to locate something quickly, spreading out makes sense. The problem is the part everyone skips over, which is that search and rescue teams are not being hunted. They are doing the hunting. The thing they're looking for isn't also looking for them. Horror characters have this backwards. They are the thing being searched for. Splitting out helps whatever's out there cover them. Every person who walks down a separate hallway has just made themselves a solo problem instead of part of a group problem, and solo problems are significantly easier to deal with one at a time. The logic sounds like a plan. It's actually just a schedule they insert to the killer's agenda. Here you go, kind sir. And they deliver it with such confidence every time. Never a pause, never a, wait, should we actually do this? One person floats it, everyone nods, and off they go. 6 people who 30 seconds ago were a defensible unit are now 6 individuals walking into separate rooms. 50 years of this. Like, come on, the math alone should have stopped it. So, let's actually do it. The math nobody in these movies stops to run. You've got a group of 6, 1 killer. Those are workable odds. 6 people acting together can block exits, create noise, grab weapons, cause problems. One entity has to deal with all of
power in numbers. 1 killer, power in numbers. Now, for example, if it's like a group of niggas, okay, chat, only time it will be ever really valid to split up in a horror movie situation is if you're going against a group of niggas. Okay? Like a group of horror killers, whatever. Like, for example, I don't know, somebody that has like clones or some shit. I don't fucking know who. But if you're going against a group of killers or people trying to assault you, splitting up would be the best option, low-key. Because, like, I mean, either your group could go against them, but, like, they're literally trying to kill you and you're trying to defend yourself or kill them or, like, before they kill you. So, like, you know, the person playing defense always going to be kind of at a disadvantage compared to someone that was literally coming prepared to get rid of your ass. But, like, what was I trying to say? Yeah, nah, splitting up would be the better option because that just means they also got to spread out if they want to get you. So it could be more of a one-on-one rather than a however many on however much on some shit. I mean, to be fair, in games, we do the same thing. Split up in groups. I mean, yeah, we split up, but that's because it's games, nigga. Like, horror movies is supposed to be based off of real life. Like, horror movies supposed to be somewhat realistic, people going through real problems to avoid dying to this crazy nigga, right? In video games, we know it's a video game. But horror movies, they're supposed to at least be presented as people actually live in that situation, and they be making dumb decisions all the time. That's why I personally can't rock with that. Just saying.
that simultaneously. It's not a comfortable situation for the entity. Now split up. Those 6 people become 3 pairs, spread across 3 separate locations with no line of sight between any of them. The killer doesn't have to deal with 6 people anymore. They have to deal with 2. Then move on to the next 2. Then the next. The problem got divided into 3 smaller problems that can each be handled quietly before anyone else knows what's happening. You went from 1 difficult situation to 3 easy ones, and you did it voluntarily. You suggested it enthusiastically. The group never does this arithmetic. Yes, that is a word that is in my vocabulary before they split. Nobody takes 30 seconds to think about what they're actually proposing. The words come out, everyone agrees, and 6 people become a to-do list. A shorter to-do list every time someone opens a door alone. Horror films have been running this exact experiment for 50 years with consistent results. But if you want something more rigorous than 50 years of fictional corpses, the science has been tracking this problem in the real world since before Scooby-Doo was even on television. After that, we'll get back to when it does actually make sense. Researchers have been studying what happens when prey separates from its group for decades. Oh, not like horror movie prey or the cute blondies in the grocery store line you prey on yourself, you bastard. Researchers research actual animals being hunted by actual predators in actual fields. That is a terrible way of wording, but I'm keeping it in. The findings are remarkably consistent. A study tracking large carnivore attacks on humans compiled over 5,000 incidents across 70 years. Lions, tigers, wolves, bears, 12 species across 3 continents. The single most reliable factor in whether an attack was fatal wasn't the species, wasn't the location, wasn't the time of day. It was whether the victim was alone. A separate study looked at sparrowhawks hunting redshanks. When the flock size reached 30 birds, individual kill probability dropped by 95%. 95!
Damn.
The predator didn't get worse at hunting because of a researcher looking at it nearby. The math just stopped working in its favor once the group was large enough. Wolves hunting bison solo have a 100% success rate. A lone wolf going after a lone bison.
And I feel like the reason that animals got a good grasp on, like, oh yeah, so there's more niggas, then if there's one me and more niggas, then obviously I'm not going to rush in. Compared to like, I mean, that works for, you know, humans. So that works for an animal or a literal creature raised in the wild, hunter gatherer, like fighting to survive, compared to a human that's being hunted. Like in most situations, serial killers are hunters. That's facts. And if serial killers are hunters, they're close to the animalistic ways, which makes sense. While they would realize there's power in numbers, realize the odds will be against them, and then not fight the niggas when they're in numbers. But the moment niggas split up, niggas start getting taken off the map, and that shit's always happened.
Fails 99 times out of 100. Pack size changes everything. What this means is that the instinct to stay together is the single most effective survival mechanism that prey animals have developed across millions of years of being.
And another reason why I feel like niggas be, another reason I feel like niggas be like splitting up and shit like that in the movie. It's like, a lot of the time, it tries to paint in the situation where they don't recognize themselves as prey. That's facts. Talk to me, chat. That's literally facts. In horror movies, niggas don't like to paint themselves as prey because they split up. They're like, one, they're either clueless about the situation they're in, but just knows it's a bad situation, so decide splitting up would be the best option, right? Or two, these niggas realize that, yo, like even if they realize that they're in a bad situation, they're like, say for example, they're actively being hunted by the killer. They're aware they're being hunted by the killer. Then they're like, we gotta split up, man. I don't know. It's like, it's not just dumb, but they also like, I feel like some part of the people in the movies don't like to visualize themselves as prey. Like if there was a moment where like a guy was like, he's the hunter, and we're his prey, or some shit like that. And then the nigga's like, I feel like if a nigga at least acknowledges the fact that he's not in the dominant role or the powerful role, that's when the nigga starts surviving. You can't tell me that's a lie. Every nigga that's realized the situation he was in, that's accepted the situations he's in, and move accordingly to that situation, always fucking win.
More bodies in one place means more eyes, more noise, more variables for the predator to manage. It compounds the difficulty in a way that splitting up compounds the ease. The films know this, by the way. Some of them show it working out exactly as the science predicts, every time, without exception, in the same order. Let's start with the one that started all of it. Camp Crystal Lake. 8 counselors show up to reopen a summer camp that's been closed for 20 years because 2 people were murdered there. They've walked into this voluntarily, which is its own conversation, but the relevant part is what happens next. Every single death in Friday the 13th.
One smart guy in Until Dawn reminds me of him. Smart guy in Until Dawn. You talking about the nigga that had like that, like it was like the Chad of the group, right? The nigga that was the Chad, and like he had like he was talking to the girl by the fucker in that cabin and shit. I think you talking about him. That nigga was smart. Like he wasn't smart in the sense of like, I don't know. He was an asshole for sure, but that nigga was moving tack the whole game, and I fuck with him. That was one of my favorite characters in the game.
Happens to someone who's alone. Annie hitches a ride by herself and gets herself killed on a road before she even reaches camp. Ned wanders off to investigate a cabin.
Motherfucker was the only one to survive for me. That's fucking crazy. You played the game completely wrong. You are ass. I am not going to lie to you, nigga. You are ass. You telling me he's the only one to survive in your game? That's a user error. Nigga talking about some no listen. I'm not listening to you. Why would I listen to a nigga that's horrible at making decisions, my nigga? What type of decisions was you making that led to everybody fucking dying except him?
Alone, Brenda gets lured outside by a voice calling for help and walks toward it by herself. Bill goes to check the generator alone. No character in this film dies in a group. Not one. The pattern is unbroken across the entire runtime. Pamela Voorhees didn't need a plan. The counselors made the plan for her. She just had to wait for the next one to wander off, which on average took about 4 minutes. That's the baseline. Isolation as the pure mechanism. Now make it psychological. 6 women go caving. Their leader, Juno, has secretly taken them to an unmapped system instead of the documented route she promised. Nobody knows where they are. There are no maps. Then, the cave entrance collapses. Surprise, surprise. They haven't encountered the crawlers yet, and the group is already coming apart. The betrayal surfaces. Juno lied. Trust goes with it. And 2 miles underground with no exits is not the ideal location for that conversation. The thing keeping them safe from the crawlers was the group holding together. Once that's gone.
And the thing is, like, if you were underground, stuck underground in a situation where y'all probably can't get up, why would y'all split up to begin with? Like, I feel like if I was stuck underground, last thing I'd do is split up to find different ways to exit, you know? Maybe if it was within the same area and like within the yell of each other, but no. Hell
So
no.
is the protection. Beth gets accidentally stabbed through the throat by Juno during a panic separation in the dark. Sam dies alone crossing a chasm. Juno gets left to face the crawlers by herself as a deliberate act. The monsters are almost incidental by the end. The group dismantled itself from the inside and the crawlers just handled the paperwork. Friday the 13th shows you what happens when characters physically separate. The Descent shows you what happens when they psychologically separate. Same result. It Chapter 2 takes that one step further. What if someone in the group designed this split on purpose, knowing it had already failed once before? The Losers Club returns to Derry as adults, perform a ritual that will destroy Pennywise permanently. The ritual requires each of them to retrieve a personal artifact from their past, so they split up across town. Oh, yeah, Mike forgot to tell something though. The last group of people who attempted this ritual was completely wiped out. He knew, he withheld it. The ritual also didn't technically require
This nigga too dumb to be black. I ain't gonna lie. Fuck you mean this nigga knew that the last group of people that split up got fucking brutally massacred and decided to tell no one? Nigga, yeah, nah. And the thing is, niggas like this really exist. There's niggas that will know exactly what's going on, why you in this situation you're in, or why the situation is getting this crazy. And they will let you be in that situation and not tell you what's going on. Watch out for the people you got in your circle. Facts.
Require them to be alone. That was a condition Mike built into the instructions. He designed the split knowing the previous attempt had ended in a massacre and told nobody. They separated based on incomplete information for a ceremony that didn't require separation, organized by somebody with documented evidence that the last attempt had failed catastrophically. Mike would have done great in HR, but that's understandable. Civilians making bad decisions under pressure is one thing. Take that off the table entirely and put them in space. The Colonial Marines are trained military personnel with pulse rifles, smart guns, motion trackers, and body armor. They have a commanding officer with a tactical plan. By every measurable standard, they are better equipped than anyone else on this list. Lieutenant Gorman splits the unit inside the Xenomorph hive, then restricts ammunition because of nearby reactor coolant. Hudson responds to this information.
Hey, what the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
What follows is one of the most complete massacres in science fiction. The motion trackers show the swarm converging from every direction. Gorman freezes at the controls. Marines get picked off in a collapsing structure with no weapons and no unified defensive position. The point isn't that the Marines were stupid. I mean, maybe they were. They were just also following commands, I guess. But my real point is that none of their advantages mattered once the unit was split in an enclosed space against something that understood the terrain better than they did. Training, weapons, tactics, all neutralized by one tactical decision made in the wrong room. If splitting up ends the Colonial Marines, it ends anyone. That same question, why does everyone keep making this decision? Finally got answered in 2011, and the answer is worse than the problem. In 2011, Cabin in the Woods came out. On the surface, it's a horror film about 5 college students who go to a remote cabin and get picked off one by one. Standard setup. What's different is that the whole thing is being orchestrated by an underground facility run by technicians who need the deaths to
I actually might need to watch this movie. That sounds fire.
in a specific order for a ritual to work. The technicians have tools: chemical dispersants pumped through the cabin's ventilation system, mood alteration, behavioral nudging, decision manipulation. They use them throughout the film to steer the characters towards the outcomes the ritual requires, or, well, somewhat requires. They also gamble on, like, who gets the kill, which is honestly kind of crazy, not gonna lie. At a certain point, the group needs to separate, but right before that, Kurt makes clear they should stick together.
No matter what happens, we have to.
AP Patreon. I ain't paying for that shit. What would you gain from me doing the Patreon, though? Like, what would I gain from me doing the Patreon? I barely got motion. There's no point in me making a Patreon yet. I ain't gonna lie.
Just stay
I'll keep that
together.
in mind,
The lead technician pumps the gas. The character Kurt turns to the group and says,
This isn't right. We should split up.
that line, that exact line, the most common justification for splitting up in horror movie history, cover more ground, find help faster, was delivered by a character who had just been chemically altered to say it. It was written for him, pumped through the air conditioning, and he delivered it on cue. Cabin in the Woods is a comedy about horror movie conventions. It's not trying to be subtle, but what it accidentally documented is that the one line nobody ever questions, the line that gets the group moving in separate directions every single time, is the line that had to be chemically induced to get said. Without the gas, the character didn't want to split up. With it, he suggested it confidently, and the group agreed immediately. Every other horror film has the same line delivered by characters nobody was dosing. That's worth thinking about. And to their defense, there is a good reason for that. Horror depends on vulnerability. 6 people in a room are not that vulnerable. 1 person alone in a corridor is. So the split serves everyone except the characters. The director gets multiple separate tension sequences instead of one. Each one gets its own build, its own scare, its own payoff, the runtime feels efficiently, and the fundamental problem of explaining why 6 adults can't overpower a single entity disappears the moment they stop being 6 adults in the same room. It works, the sequences land, the tension builds, and audiences have been watching this for 50 years without collectively demanding an explanation. The only cost is that the characters have to behave as though splitting up was their idea, unless you find a good reason for them to split off as there is. To be fair, one film where splitting up could be a good decision. In A Quiet Place, the threat hunts exclusively by sound. The creatures are blind, fast, and functionally...
I ain't gonna lie. How many of y'all think y'all survived in A Quiet Place? Because, nigga, I know for a fact. I'm not gonna act like I can't be quiet. I walk quiet. I don't really talk much. And I could be a very quiet nigga. I'm not gonna say I can't. But even then, me being the quiet ass nigga I am whenever I'm not around anyone, I'm not surviving that shit. I ain't gonna lie. This is like, A Quiet Place is one of the most unwinnable situations. If you get sick, it's over, nigga. If you exist in the Quiet Place dimension, it's over, nigga. What you talking about if you get sick? Like, yeah, cough, sneeze, whatever. Yeah, they know where you at. Nigga, everything gotta be done quietly. Nigga, for example, I could be right here in the room playing the game quiet as fuck. Like, if a nigga broke in my house, he wouldn't even know I'm in here type shit. Playing the game quiet as fuck, locked in. Slight creak in my chair. Boom, nigga walks in the door, dead. You feel me? What if I got to piss? Well, you better piss on the pillow. Facts. Nigga, you better muffle that shit. Like, nigga, there's no way to really win Quiet Place. Cause like, what is the goal, nigga? Like, I don't remember the Quiet Place movie for real. But like, how exactly did they even like, if anyone survived, how did they survive? Cause like, nigga, aren't these monsters invading the fucking planet or whatever? How the hell are you supposed to avoid that if they invaded the whole planet? What she did, move to a new planet, nigga? Cause like that's the only thing you can do, nigga. Shit, I'm not dealing with this. This one of the horror movies I would never put myself in the situation of being in. No bullshit. Deadpool, clip that. I need that for my TikTok.
Indestructible. The only thing keeping the Abbott family alive is silence. In this film, splitting up is occasionally correct. Not always, not carelessly. But when Lee and Marcus separate from the farmhouse to draw the creature away from Evelyn in labor, that's a sound, tactical decision. The threat tracks noise. 2 people moving together make twice the noise signature. Splitting the sound sources splits the creature's attention and buys time. The logic holds in other movies where...
See, I feel like the way that niggas could really do well in this, if these niggas like hunt using sound in specific, actually, just like make an area with a bunch of shit that makes hella noise. And that will always be the focal point now. Like, say for example, boom, Quiet Place, right? Monsters creeping around. Make this one city where like hella noise is being made all the time, whether it's fucking car engines, fucking TVs, fucking radios, anything. Just a bunch of fucking noise going on at once in one spot, right? And then once all of the like majority of the monsters like grouped up, find a way to enclose them in and then try to like deal with them. I don't know.
One also separates to sacrifice himself. That's the exception. Roast me in the comments all you want if I missed other exceptions though. Speaking of fighting, is that the right answer instead of splitting up? Is that the answer? Well, come on. You've made it this far. You should know the answer. Stay together. That's the whole plan. Not we'll regroup at the car. Not you go that way, I'll go this way. Shout if you see anything. Together. Same room, same pace, one direction.
Yeah, like there's a situation where like we could regroup at the car. Nigga, just go in the car and fucking leave, my nigga. No bullshit. Why the fuck? What you mean? Oh yeah, there's a guy in the house, but we gotta find him and put it into this. Let's regroup at the car. You gonna see me going fucking 50 into 25, my nigga. No bullshit. Niggas like me is not putting myself in that situation. I'm not that dumb.
And everyone agrees on before anyone takes a step. If the group can't agree on a direction, pick one anyway. Any single direction is better.
Nigga, oh my god, Friday the 13th was lit. They need to bring that game back. But hold up. That's how you know you're chopped? Nah. You know it's bad when your sister mad at you for cutting your dress off. My sister wasn't even mad. She said, I'm not gonna lie, like she's like, it looked good, but like, nigga, what's the point of asking me for advice if your ass is gonna do whatever the fuck you want anyway? Cause she said don't cut it off. I ain't gonna lie. But my mom said, you look good if you cut it off. So I listened to my mom. Facts.
Than 6 separate ones. I'd also be the person making the decisions, not because I have any particular expertise in surviving horror scenarios, I don't, but because the alternative is letting the group argue until someone floats the split and everyone nods along.
I'm not gonna lie, if I was in a horror movie situation though, group of niggas, I'm not letting there be no group leader. I'm deciding whatever the fuck I want to do for myself. Like, if what I do that aligns with my survival matches with what the group got going on, I'm gonna follow the group. But if I clearly know that these niggas is walking into hell, I'm leaving. No bullshit. Of course, your mom said that Gigi's parents love short hair. My mom said, nah, because she was cutting, she's like, you look so good with these locks. What make you want to cut them? I was like, you know, trying to make sure I don't repeat old bad habits and shit like that, you know? And she's like, oh, okay, well, I'll cut them. But you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, she, you know, she liked it. And she was silent, like, she was cool with it. But at the same time, like, she's like, she really liked how I look with my dreads, too.
I've seen how that ends, so I'm appointing myself before the first bad idea gets said, and the first rule is nobody goes anywhere alone. Not to investigate a noise, not to check the basement, not to get something from the car, not to use the bathroom, buddy system. No exceptions, including the bathroom. I will be the designated bathroom buddy that will hold it for you when you pee. Maybe even shake a little.
I swear. Damn near. I ain't gonna lie.
You're nice. Maybe I'll watch. Yes, that's embarrassing. It's considerably less embarrassing than the alternative. But soon I will have a better tactic.
Every year, this is your first year following me. That's crazy.
For you as running a gun to horror movies. Awesome, right? But which horror movie then is gonna be the easiest?
I ain't gonna lie. Video. Why splitting up makes no sense. Yeah, nah. You get a light. Shout out my boy Cheeky Chucky.